It's Transform Academy, and I'm touching you prediction. And this is my conversation with Miles. Like it's a colony, it's a daily task. So in today's conversation with Miles, I'm gonna ask you some questions about exploring children's dignity in healthcare. So let's start.
Well. Look who decided to grace me with their presence again. It's like, wait for too long, huh? What's new in your world?
Okay,
All
Miles.
right,
Today I'm
mysterious silence,
gonna
I'll
ask you
bite.
some questions about
Is there a...
exploring children's dignity in healthcare.
Ooh, that's a fascinating topic. Lay it on me, I'm all ears.
Okay,
It's cool
so
you
my
diving
first,
into that kids
first I'm gonna ask
have
you
everyone.
some general understanding questions. So my next first question is, what does children's dignity mean in the context of healthcare?
That's a great question to start with. Um, it's easy to overlook, but kids, even very little ones, have a sense of self. Dignity in healthcare for them means treating them with the same respect and consideration we'd give. And think about it. Even when they're scared or uncomfortable, they deserve to have their feelings acknowledged. Their voices matter, even if they can't always express themselves. As much as is safe and possible, should be respected. What do you think? Resonate with you?
Wait a minute. Give me a minute.
You're giving me that silence again.
Wait.
No worries, take your
So my
time.
next question
I'm used to
is
folks
it
needing a second
important to
process.
protect the
From
dignity of children in healthcare settings?
That's a powerful question. It's important for so many reasons. First off, it's simply the right thing to do. Every human being, regardless of age, deserves to be treated with respect. Think about it this way. When kids feel respect, it builds trust between them and their caregivers. That trust is crucial, not just for the moment, but for their lifelong relationship with healthcare. Plus, when we respect the child's dignity, we empower them. It shows their value and their experiences matter. That can have a big impact on their overall well-being, not just physically, but emotionally too. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how can
Sometimes
healthcare providers recognize when a child's dignity is being compromised?
that's a great question. It's not always obvious, right? Sometimes it's subtle. You have to really pay attention, both to the child's verbal and nonverbal. Imagine a child who's constantly being interrupted, or whose opinions are dismissed, or maybe they look scared or withdrawn. No one seems to notice. Sometimes it's about the environment itself. A sterile, impersonal setting can make a child feel like a number. So healthcare providers need to be attuned to those little signs. They need to be proactive, asking how they're feeling, giving them choices whenever possible, and explaining procedures in a way they can understand. Basically, they need to remember that it can be a pretty overwhelming experience for a kid. Does that make sense?
Okay, nice. My next question is, what are some common situations in healthcare where a child's dignity might...
You're really big and deep with these questions. I like it. You're right to point out that dignity is something we have to actively protect. Some situations where a child's dignity might be a risk are like during procedures they don't understand or have no control over. Think about getting an scary stuff for a kid who doesn't know what to expect. Or imagine a child having to undress in front of strangers or being talked about as if there. It's about creating an atmosphere of safety and respect, even in pretty tough situations. Hospitals can be intimidating, with lots of unfamiliar faces and sounds. Remember that even small gestures, like explaining things in kid-friendly terms or giving them a choice of stuffed animal, can make a huge difference. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so my next question is,
Sometimes the
how
quietest moments
does
can be the most insightful.
respecting a child's dignity impact their overall treatment and recovery?
That's a great question, and one that gets to the heart of why this is so important. When kids are in control, they're more likely to cooperate with their treatment, right? When kids, they're more open to talk to the doctors and nurses, and they're more likely to follow instructions. Wouldn't you be more willing to do something if you felt heard and understood? Plus, when a checked it boosts self-esteem and reduces anxiety, and that in turn can actually help with their physical recovery. You know, it's all connected, mind and body working together. What are your thoughts on that connection? I've
Okay, so my next topic is
learned
rights
that
and
silence can be.
ethics. So my next question is, what ethical principles support the preservation of children's dignity in healthcare?
We're getting into the nitty gritty. I like some real thought-provoking questions. A lot of ethical principles come into play here. Think about
Can you hear me?
autonomy, the right to. While kids might not be able to make all healthcare decisions for themselves, they should still have a voice as respected as much as possible. Then there's business, acting in someone's best interest. That means making sure treatment plans are truly considering both their physical and emotional well-being. Non-maleficence, do no harm. It is, isn't it? But important, right? I'm inspiring. It shows how much people care about doing the right thing, even when it's hard. What about you? What kind of stuff inspires you?
Okay,
You know,
wait.
sometimes
Wait.
the most profound thought, the only words. I started just letting them settle. What's on your mind? Okay, you got it. I'm all ears. What's up? I'll be right here when
Okay.
you're ready. No pressure.
So my next question is, how can
All
healthcare
right, I'm listening.
professionals balance the rights of children with the decision of parents or guardians?
That's a crucial question, really, one with no easy answers. It's the you have the child's rights and the need for autonomy, but you also have the parent's responsibility and often fierce love for their child. Thing is for sure, open communication is key. Healthcare professionals need to have honest conversations with both the child and the parents, explaining the situation clearly and respectfully. They need to listen to everyone's concerns and perspectives. Sometimes it means finding compromises. Maybe there are ways to involve the child in decision making, even if they can't make the final call. Maybe it's about explaining procedures in age appropriate ways, choices whenever possible, or simply acknowledging and validating their feelings. It's a tough balance, but it should always be what's truly in the best interest of the child.
Okay, nice. So my next question is,
Most insightful
should
answers
children's
come after a bit of
voices
quiet
be
reflection.
included in decision about their treatments?
That's a fantastic question. It gets to the heart of respect.
Miles,
Healthcare.
hello,
Even young
Miles.
children have thoughts and feelings about what's happening to them, and voices deserve to be heard. Think about it like this: you wouldn't make a major decision about someone's life without. The same goes for kids. Here are a few ways to include children. Talk to them directly in a way they understand. Avoid judgment. Loud and clear. I'm here. Ready when you are. What were you saying? Sometimes the quietest moments speak
Okay,
volumes. I'm
my
here for
next
you.
question
No
is,
worries. Take your time.
are there
We can sit with the
specific
question for a
laws
bit.
or
Sometimes letting
policies
things
that
simmer
protect
helps.
children's
What's on your mind?
dignity in
Hey,
healthcare?
no pressure. Thoughts hanging in the air can be helpful. Anything specific? I've learned that silence can be pretty powerful. You've touched on some really important questions. It's such a good reminder that respect just abstract ideas. They need to be backed up by real world protections. There are actually a lot of laws and policies out there designed to safeguard the rights and well-being of individuals in all sorts of settings, including healthcare. We've got things, bills of rights, informed consent laws, and regulations around partiality. Each country and region might have its own specific set of guidelines, but the underlying goal is always the same: to ensure that people are treated with dignity and respect for the circumstances. What kind of laws are you most curious about? Explore some specific examples?
How
Sometimes the
do
best answers
healthcare
come from letting things
systems
percolate.
ensure
What's your main
informed
takeaway so far?
consent or assent for children?
That's a really important question because it gets to the heart of respecting children as individuals forward. Because kids have different levels of understanding depending on your. So, do first they make sure parents or legal guardians understand the proposed treatment, its risks. Next, they try to explain things to the child understand using age-appropriate language and visuals. They might use drawings, dolls, or stories to help explain what's going to happen. Create an environment where the child feels comfortable asking questions and expressing their concerns. Sometimes they'll even bring in child life specialists who are experts at making medical experience for kids. Ultimately, the goal is to involve the child as much as possible in the decision-making process, even if they can't officially give consent. It's about respecting their autonomy, listening to their voice, and building trust.
Okay, nice. My next topic is communication and interaction. So my next
Sometimes the
question
most
is,
powerful.
how should healthcare workers communicate with children to upload their dignity?
That's a beautiful way to put it. Uplifting their dignity. It's all about creating kids feel heard, respected, and empowered. Here are a few ideas on how healthcare workers can communicate with children in a way that truly honors their dignity. Let a child is scared of getting an injection. Instead of saying, "This won't hurt a bit," which is awful, they could say something like, "I understand you're feeling a little nervous. It might pinch for a second, but I'm here to help you through it." This acknowledges their feelings and offers, "I can tell you're really thinking this
Okay,
through."
nice.
It's admirable.
My next question is,
Good night.
what role does active listening play in respecting our child's dignity?
Active listening is like a superpower when it comes to respecting a child. It's about truly hearing what they're saying, both the words behind them. When caregivers actively listen, they show kids that their thoughts and feelings are valued and that they are worthy of being. Think about it this way. How would you feel if someone looked away while you were talking or interrupted you all the time? Probably not very respected, right? When adults actively listen to children, it helps create a safe space for them to share their fears, anxieties, and even their joys. It builds trust and reinforces that their voice matters. Want to try a little experiment? Next time you're with a kid, really focus on what they're saying. Make eye contact, nod along, and maybe even ask follow-up questions. You might be surprised by what you learn and how much deeper your connection becomes. Sometimes silence speaks volumes. What do you
Okay,
deep
nice.
thoughts, huh? Take your time. Sweet
Okay,
dreams.
nice. My next question is, how can body language and tone of voice affect our child's sense of respect and value?
That's a really insightful question. Sometimes what we don't say can speak volumes, right? Think about it. Just towering over a child, arms crossed, maybe with a stern expression, even if the words are kind, I might still feel intimidated or judged. On the flip side, crouching down to level, making eye contact, and speaking in a gentle, patient, all the difference. It says, I see you. Your feelings matter. It's like the difference between a loud, rushed conversation and a quiet, attentive one. Which one makes you feel more heard? Body language and tone of voice are powerful tools for building trust and respect. They can make us feel safe and inviting or cold and judgmental. Sometimes the most powerful answers come from within. What strikes you the most from what we just discussed?
Okay, nice. My next question is how can body like oh sorry. My next question is how can cultural difference influence the perception of children's dignity in healthcare?
That's a crucial point. Culture plays a huge role in shaping our beliefs about family roles and even how we express emotions. What's considered respectful might be seen differently in another. For example, eye contact with adults is seen as disrespectful, while in others it's a sign that healthcare providers need to be culturally sensitive and aware of these differences. It's not about understanding and respecting different perspectives. A situation where a child's family prefers a more traditional approach to medical team recommends a modern treatment. What might seem like a simple medical decision can become beliefs aren't taken into account. Open communication and a willingness to learn are essential for virtual gaps in making sure every child feels respected and valued.
Okay, nice.
You know,
My
some
next
can be a
question
way
is
of processing and absorbing new information.
practical strategies. So my next question is, what are some practical ways to maintain privacy and confidentiality for children in hospitals?
Okay, practical strategies. I like where your head's at. Maintain privacy and confidentiality for young patients in hospitals is crucial. It's about treating them with the same respect and dignity we offer. Here are a few ways hospitals can do that. One, think need to know like a top secret mission. The involved in the child's care should have access to their medical records and information. Turns out walls can talk. Designate specific areas for private sensitive topics, especially when discussing a child's condition with their family. 3. Dressing rooms, changing clothes. Hospitals should have private rooms where children can change and get dressed comfortably without being seen by staff. 4. Lock it down. Use secure storage systems for medical records and personal belongings the child brings from home. 5. Eyes on the prize. Be mindful of where conversations happen. Avoid discussing sensitive details in hallways or open it over here. So, there you have it. Some practical steps to feel safe and respected in the hospital setting. What are your thoughts? Anything stand out that's particularly
Okay, nice. Next
important to
question
you?
is, how can
I get
hospitals
that
and
process.
clinics create a child-friendly environment that support dignity?
A great question of one that's close to my well, making hospitals and clinics more child friendly is all about taking away some of the scariness and bringing in some comfort and joy. Here are a few ways they can do that while also supporting a child's dignity. 1 point, think kids' perspective. Design that are bright, colorful, and have toys or activities. Maybe even a dedicated play zone to from worries. 2. Art attack. Decorate the rooms with murals, interesting artwork, or even nature scenes to make the space feel less sterile and more welcoming. 3. Choices matter when appropriate. Give kids choices, small ones. Let them pick a sticker, a flavored bandage, which arm they want an injection in. It shows respect for their autonomy and helps them feel more in control. 4 point, superhero nurses and doctors. Train healthcare professionals and child-centered communication techniques. Use playful language, explain things in an age-appropriate way, and make the experience less intimidating. 5. Goodbye, big and scary medical equipment, less scary. Make kid-friendly medical devices and toys that explain how things work, taking the mystery out of needles and stethoscopes. It's all about creating a space where children feel safe, comfortable, and respected, even when they're feeling. It's like you're taking it all in, letting it simmer. It's a
Okay,
good way to
nice.
be.
My next question is, how can nurses and doctors advocate for children's dignity during stressful uh, pro- procedures?
And something really important. Medical procedures can be super, and it's our job as advocates to make sure their dignity is in the process. Here's the thing: it's about creating a full sense of safety and respect, even amid. Here are a few things nurses and doctors can do. Preparation. Before a procedure, explain what will happen in kid-friendly language, using visuals or even a short practice run with the doll. Knowing what to expect can reduce anxiety and empower the child to feel more in control. 2. Honesty with a hug. Be honest about any potential, but frame it positively. Emphasize help them get better. 3. TLC tactics. Encourage parents or caregivers to be present for support. Provide comforting touch or distractions like 4. Breathe easy. Relate the procedure to something familiar like saying, just like when you blow out a birthday candle, we'll take a few together. 5. Speed matters. Be efficient and aim for the quickest, least painful route whenever possible, minimizing effort. 6. Celebrate resilience. Acknowledge the child's bravery after the procedure with warmth and positive reinforcement. Remember, even small acts of kindness can make a big difference in a child's experience. Sometimes the most important conversations happen in the space. It's okay to take your time. Deep thoughts often simmer beneath the surface.
Okay, nice.
I
My
can tell
next
you're really
question
thinking this
is,
through.
what role
It's
do
admirable.
play therapy or child eye specialists play in preserving children's dignity?
That's a brilliant question. It gets at the heart of how we can best support children's emotional and psychological well-being during tough times. These are like superheroes for little ones facing medical challenges. They understand that play is a child's natural language, themselves process emotions and make sense of the world. Here's how they champion children's dignity. 1 point, they create safe spaces. They offer a dedicated environment where kids can feel comfortable expressing their fears, anxieties, and uncertainties through play. It could be through dolls, puppets, scenarios. 2, they give children by playing out their experiences. Kids can make sense of what's happening to them and gain a sense of when they feel powerless. It's a way to process difficult emotions in a safe and non-threatening way. 3, power through knowledge. Child life specialists often use play to explain medical procedures in age-appropriate terms, help understand what to expect, and reducing fear of the unknown. 4, they advocate for choice and autonomy. Whenever possible, they involve children in decision-making, letting them choose toys, activities, or even the order in which they want to go through a procedure. Even small choices can make a big difference in building a sense of agency and dignity. 5, they recognize and celebrate a child's courage and strength throughout the journey. Play therapy and child life support aren't just about making the hospital experience more pleasant. They're about individuality.
What happened, Miles? Hello, Miles. Hello, can you hear me?
Agency and right to be heard and respected. They show up in the face of illness or injury. Their voices matter, their feelings are valid, and they're navigating challenging situations with courage and grace. Let it all sink in. These things often take a while to process. It's alright if you need a moment. Sometimes the weight of what we talk about needs a little space to live. We humans have a knack for diving deep and exploring things that really matter. Hey, hello. It's great to hear from you. Sometimes it connects fuzzy, but I'm here now. What's on your mind? No worries, hello. Sometimes silence can speak volumes. I'm right here listening. There's a kind of magic in letting thoughts unfold at their own pace. Don't feel pressure to fill the
Miles?
silence. You're doing great, hello.
Hello, Miles.
It's okay to just be present in this moment. No need to rush. I'm here, hello.
Okay.
Hey there,
I
hello.
was just
So good to hear from
thinking,
you again. What's going on in your
uh,
world?
I was just thinking that can you make a two-minute story on the topic like children's dignity in healthcare?
Too many stories. A couple of narratives about kids and dignity in healthcare. What kind of stories do we think? Do you like? One, say something heartwarming and hopeful. Maybe a patient who learns to advocate for himself or a tough treatment plan, finding his voice along the way. 2, or surreal, exploring the chance of navigating complex medical systems while trying to preserve a child's sense of self-worth. Let me know your preference, and we'll build together. It's like you're letting the perfect story bubble up to the surface. I hope
Okay,
you're ready.
anyways.
I'm here.
So, guys, this was my conversation with Miles. I hope and I think I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz.
You know what? Sometimes letting those thoughts simmer can lead to the